All right, everybody, welcome to the live stream. That's right. Can't play copyrighted music on here, but I can definitely play the 8-bit version of Shake It Off, Shake It Off. Tonight, I just want to do all Q&A, all your questions. I'll get to them in the live chat. And I have a really cool new feature that I'm hoping to be able to use here where I can bring them up on the screen. So anything I'm addressing, you can all see at the same time. I will wait a couple minutes to let this populate, let things get rolling. And just a quick check to make sure we're on. Yes. It's always nice to know that people can actually see this. Hello, Jessica. How are you doing? You're always first. You must have the bell, the notifications. Is that right? And I appreciate that. Trevor Rosenthal. Wait a second. Trevor Gotenthal. I see what you did there. I didn't even read it right. I like that already. Mega roll. What's going on? So, hey, let me know where you're watching from tonight. What you're doing. Hey, Trevor, says Olson. Is it Uber Alice? Uber Alice? When did Andre Agassi start podcasting? That's solid. Yeah, you know what? I'm going with the headband. I mean, I wear the headband a lot. You guys just don't see it at home. But I've been rocking it today. My hair gets in my face. I always have to use sunglasses as like a hair whatever device. But I bought this bandana. No, not a bandana. I bought this headband probably in December, early December, and I have not looked back. I love it. It's Lululemon, of course. I got to get to more questions here. Jessica, thank you for having the notifications on. Look, I wouldn't ask that of anybody to instantly be updated when I post something new or when I'm going live, but I do appreciate that you have activated that. How am I doing tonight? I'm doing great. Ronald, I appreciate you asking my thoughts on the Blickfeld suspension. 2 games. Sorry about that. In this day and age, probably not surprising. And yes, I did bring my NES controller here. We might be playing that a little bit later. This was my backup plan, by the way, if chat wasn't going well. 2 games seems reasonable. I didn't want to see a situation where because he hit McKinnon, the league was going to say, well, that's a superstar and he's not, and we really have to send a message. And it's not atypical for what we've seen in other scenarios. I just think the whole thing was an accident. I mean, the hit was meant to be laid. I just think the angle could have been a little bit better, right? And I think if the angle were different, instead of that 90-degree angle, if it's at a 45 or it's straight on, it's a whole different story. It's just that we've seen that exact same play a number of times, and this is kind of the result of that. But let's just, if you're the league, let's just make this the standard. It's a 2-game suspension. It's a match penalty, and it's a 2-game suspension. But I don't want to see Tomas Hertl a couple years ago in the playoffs get hit like that, and nothing happens because, it's the playoffs. That's not appropriate. It's got to be the same. Regular season, postseason, preseason, doesn't matter to me. Bubble Tea, how's it going? Oh, I said Uber Alice right. I still have no clue what that's all about. I think it's been explained to me. I don't get it. It's cool though. I like it. I like the fact that A's stuff is going on here. Not hockey related, but how's my son doing these days? He's great. He gets a lot of mom and dad time, I'll tell you that. I'm watching him sleep right now, and that would be the only thing that would interrupt this live stream. Maybe I'll go 20 minutes, maybe I'll go 30 minutes. I have no clue. But yeah, he's asleep right now and goes to bed, I don't know, a couple hours ago. And so I'm on duty for watching him while live streaming. Jason, thank you. The headband. You see, it's not like, I've decided to wear it tonight because I'm like, I just don't care. I don't do it necessarily for looks. I'm not angry at the look, but realistically, like I said, it's all for function. It's just to keep the hair out of my eyes. I mean, hair can go from my head to my mouth now on the back, on the back and on the top. It's terrible. When does the kid get a chance to co-host? Yeah, he's when he can be awake past 7 o'clock. That's when he can be up late with me. Still not going to let Matt Chapman shave the head. I'll tell you what. The only problem here is now that you can't have access to ball players and professional athletes as normal. So this would have been the perfect opportunity to have Chappie shave it. But Bubble Tea, thank you for remembering that. We'll get it going sooner than later. Actually, I just put it out today, trying to lock in a little Matt Chapman interview for our season preview show for NBC Sports. So I would expect that we'll be able to do that hopefully next week. And then the show, I believe, is on March 16th. AJ, no beverage this evening. I know. I decided that I'm going to strategize my drinking nights every week. And because we have a game tomorrow night and one on Saturday night, I've decided that my drinking will take place on Sunday. So when you see me doing the Sharks game on Monday, if I'm a little slow, a couple mispronunciations, that'll be the reason why. Brian, when will you get a haircut, or do you even want to? I desperately want to. I just think at this point, I've gone this long. I'm doing this thing right now with the hair. When I get the vaccination right after that, I will schedule my haircut appointment. And I love my Sharp Barbers in Lafayette. It's a great barber shop. They do a tremendous job. I can't wait to see the guys. I cannot wait. And I'm glad that they're so busy right now, because that opened up as of about a month ago, I want to say. So, a lot of small businesses, very hard and difficult times. I worry about a lot of them. I cannot wait to get a haircut. I like I said, at this point, I'm just going to wait until I'm completely in the clear. How long does it take to wash your beautiful hair? Well, thank you for calling it beautiful. I honestly don't know what it is. It's crazy. Like, I look back, when I was younger in the 80s, like when I was like 3, and I had a bowl cut, but it was like I had long, straight hair. I never expected it. Look at this. I never expected it to be like that curly and wavy in the back. I never did. But washing it doesn't take that long, but it takes forever to dry. It takes like a good 2 hours for this hair to dry. I never knew that. And I honestly have a huge newfound respect for anybody with long hair, men or women, because there's a lot of maintenance. I had dry scalp issues for a while. Apparently, like, you're not, I was washing my hair, like shampooing it every day, and I still do, which my wife told me is not the right thing to do. Maybe I can get some advice from some of you. If you have long hair and you know how to do this, you're saying I shouldn't shampoo it every day? Because I do. And I was having some dry scalp issues because of that. So it takes forever to dry, like literally 2 hours to dry. If I'm doing something on TV or I don't want it to be wet, I really have to plan ahead. All right. I want to know your top of the line all-time, like, make the best team possible of the players you can think of. Well, Maverick, I'm assuming because you have a hockey avatar that that you want me to make the hockey team. I mean, is it like Gretzky's in there? Do you want to like go current players? Like Connor McDavid probably has to be in there, and Jumbo for passing, and he's then I guess I need some defensemen in there. You know what? I wish I had like an hour to think about that so I could give you something realistic. It's a hard one for me to say here on the spot, but I mean, I'll put it this way. It wouldn't be hard for me to throw out a ton of names, but at the same time, like, how could I not put Ovechkin or Sidney Crosby? I mean, when you say top line, I guess you just want 3. And so I was thinking, a full 3 and 2D, or maybe a full team. I don't know. Yeah, if you're talking forward line, I mean, is Ovi in there? Is Crosby in there? I could go. The hard part is too, hockey has changed over the years. Like, do you want old school players? Do you want more skilled players of current times? Yeah, that's a great question. I wish I could do better on that. Sharks fans are still waiting to hear from the Department of Player Safety on the headshots on Hurdle, Braun, LeBanc, etc. I don't want to make this about a them versus us thing. I just think the league could do better, and the Department of Player Safety could do better if you knew exactly, like last night when you saw the hit and everybody said, well, it's a match penalty, it's a 2-game suspension automatically. We know what's going to happen. The problem is we didn't know what was going to happen. And we've seen it go completely the other way. I don't mind supplementary discipline. Just make it obvious. Like, make it the rare exception when we don't know what's going to happen. And that's definitely not the way it is right now. Zach, you bring up a great point. I just saw this on Twitter before I hopped in the home studio here. Walter Gretzky, Wayne's dad, passed away. I think he's born in the 30s. Lived to 82 years old, I want to say. Lived obviously an exceptional life and got to witness his son do amazing things. Very sad. And you imagine what Wayne's going through right now. Next one here, Trevor Rosenthal, Gotenthal. Do I think the A's can defend the division title? I absolutely think they will defend it. Can they repeat it? The Astros and the Angels, to me, and by the way, here on the channel, there is a 2021 season preview that I did recently. In fact, I live streamed it on, what day was that? Saturday? Yeah, I think I did. I live streamed it this past Saturday. And Trevor, you were on there, by the way. I think Houston and Los Angeles are going to be competitors. I'm curious how the Angels' pitching is going to be. I know Shohei Ohtani is going to jump back in that role this year, but they need more than Shohei Ohtani. And even if they were going to land a Trevor Bauer, which they didn't, the other LA team did, I still didn't know if that was going to be enough. They need literally a team worth of pitching. They don't just need one spectacular arm that's going to get them a start every, sixth day and maybe a win every sixth day. They need a rotation that's going to complement what their offense can do. And they haven't had that in a long time. So I think those are the two competitors for Oakland. It's not to disrespect Texas. It's not to disrespect Seattle. I don't know if those teams are ready to turn the corner yet. Maybe Seattle closer than the Rangers. And I understand, the question about the A's would be, they lost so much. Your everyday shortstop, your leadoff hitter, your closer in Liam Hendricks. The A's had 10 free agents. They retained only 2 of them. I get it. You know what? Why am I not playing the baseball crowd sound effect here? So the A's lost a lot. I'm not going to sit here and tell you they didn't. But I'm interested in the players that they gained. Mitch Moreland, Rosenthal, Gotenthal, excuse me. Elvis Andrus at shortstop. So I think the replacements are interesting. And more than that is the core group of players that still exists. You still have a Chapman, an Olsen. Whoa, something must have just happened. A Laureano in center field. Mark Canha's going to hit the cover off the ball. Steven Piscotty in right field. Sean Murphy's your catcher. I hope he's healthy, by the way. Had the collapsed lung recently. Everything seems to be all right so far. Or there's maybe no setbacks to discuss. Your starting rotation, Chris Bassett was amazing last year. Frankie Montas, I don't think we've seen the full Frankie yet. Glad to have Fires back. Luzardo, Puck, Minaya. So there is enough. Sorry, I'm rambling on this question, but there is more than enough for me to be optimistic about, despite what the A's lost. And shout-outs to Marcus, shout-outs to Liam, and shout-outs to the other. Robbie Grossman's another player. Tommy LaStella, wish the A's could have kept him. But it's not the way it is. And, I still think they're at least going to contend. Boy, I got behind here on the chat. I apologize for that. Oh, Anthony, love your team, the Oakland A's. You're in the Dominican Republic watching right now. See, that's the beautiful thing. That is so cool here about YouTube. I'm just in the home studio and reaching somebody tonight in the Dominican. That's not something we can do on network television, to be honest with you. The way it's regional network television, that's not the way it's laid out. So I'm always up for situations like this. Anthony, thanks for tuning in tonight. Sorry to go back to hockey. I'm switching from baseball to hockey. Talking about Blickfeld last night. Did look like he tried to pull back from the hit on McKinnon. We definitely need to take care of business against Las Vegas. Fortunately, playing at home, so we don't have to see those ugly gold helmets. Oh, but do we? I know the Sharks are going reverse retro this weekend. Are the Golden Knights also doing it? I'm not sure about that. If they are going to get chirped hard. Oh, I forgot my Las Vegas sound effect. Listen in. Just listen closely. You gotta dream with me here. Are the sound effects loud enough, by the way? Can you guys hear these? And then we'll just start our show. Like when you hear that, doesn't it just get you ready for Sharks hockey? Or how about this one? This is the open of the broadcast. I don't want to play too much of that. I don't know what's copyrighted, what I'm going to get busted for. Last night I got busted for playing game clips on my live stream. Got a little copyright notice from YouTube. It's so crazy. I see people live streaming MLB and NHL games, like literally, and I don't know why YouTube doesn't stop them, but I play one clip on a live stream and I get busted for it. So, all right. Oh, finally some clarification. Uber alles means above all. So basically Olsen above all. When I see a Brazil Uber alles, I will know to quit YouTube and to get out of here. No, I appreciate the clarification. Zach, get a haircut. Zach, you get a haircut. I don't actually know if you need one. I'm just kidding. I appreciate you being here, Zach. I love the videos, by the way. You really do crush them. Maverick, thank you. The flow. I've been working more than a year on this, literally. I never ever thought I'd be talking about haven't got a haircut in more than a year. I'm a 4 or 5 week guy, 5 weeks at the most. So to go a full year, ridiculous, to be perfectly honest with you. Marty, you saw the bowling video that I think went up on the channel tonight. I did. I looked 12. You know, it's crazy. That was probably only 6 or 7 years ago. So I was 33. Can I make this declaration, by the way? In less than a month, I'm going to be 40. Early April, I turned 40. Yeah. So let's guess the midlife crisis. Am I going to buy something that I can barely afford? Am I going to have like a freak out on social media or during a show? Like what's going to happen? You know, I have no clue. Realistically, probably none of the above, but who knows? Who knows what midlife crisis I'm going to have? Ezekiel, I'm from Santa Cruz. Do you ever come down here? Not often. But I definitely enjoy what I call over the hill, over Highway 17 from San Jose. I when I was in college, definitely. It's a little bit farther away for me and us right now, family-wise. But I was thinking the other day, in one of these off days, and before baseball season starts and it gets crazy, just to go have a beach day. Whether it's on the coast by Half Moon Bay or, Santa Cruz, Aptos down there. Monterey's a bit of a trek. Like I feel like at this point for us, if we're going to go to Monterey, probably should spend the night down there. We only live here in the East Bay, so, for me, it would be fine. It's just a lot of driving for one day with a little guy. No, not regularly, but I got a lot of love for it, man. It's kind of cool to I would say the North Bay, like Sonoma, Napa, same thing with Santa Cruz, Monterey. It's such an escape from the Bay Area because it just doesn't have the same busy vibe, right? It has such a chill vibe whenever you go far north or far south. Same thing with Tahoe. That's obviously a little bit farther, east. But point being, it's great to have those getaways from the busy Bay Area. So no trying to man bun like your pal Bernsey. My hair's just not long enough yet. I don't think I have, like I could do a ponytail in the back right now. Can we, how do I do this here? Yeah, there we go. I could probably ponytail it. You guys tell me how to do this. I'm new at all this. I don't know. Sorry. And I'm hitting a bunch of buttons here trying to control the live stream. Cooked highlights. Can I get a follow back on Twitter? You got to earn it. What's crazy? The only reason I don't follow everybody is because, and I follow a lot of hashtags, so I do see stuff that you guys post on social, whether it's, mostly Twitter, I guess Instagram. I read the comments. I read a lot of stuff. Most people do. Athletes do too, by the way. As much as they'll tell you they do or they don't, they're human. They do. I don't want it to get so overly complicated in the timeline that I can't sift through information that I might need. So I try and keep the follows to business and people that I know in person. But hey, show me something, and I'm not saying no. Show me some value, I guess. I don't know. I'm not trying to be mean crooked. I hope you understand that. Oh, Zach. Of course Marcus is going to fit in nicely with the Blue Jays. You're going to love Marcus Semien. Logan Couture is going to love Marcus Semien. Join AJ and the Pucknologists on Sunday then. Oh, you mean after when I said I was going to be drinking on Sunday? Do you want me to get fired? Do you want something crazy or regrettable to happen? You should let Brownie cut your hair on Sharks pregame. We got a plexiglass in between us. Let's keep it that way. All right? Forever. Pandemic or not. Kind of feels like we're in the penalty box when we do a show and there's the big plexi wall between us. I don't know if you guys all know that, by the way. I mean, you've seen it in our smaller studio where we sit at the same desk. And that's common. You've seen that on national TV. You've seen it on regional TV. So yeah, it's a weird feeling though. The first time I look over and I look at Brownie, and there's plexi between us. It's the right thing to do. It's safe. It's responsible. It's different though. Yep, rocking the headband. Thank you. I'll assume that my hair's not on fire, but that you like the style. Haha, Funzy. I have the best job ever. Well, you know what? It's the one I want. You're right. I'm not going to talk it down, but I will say this. There's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that are either hard work or hard to get through or tough to deal with that I never even talk about because I don't want to, you don't need to know that. It's kind of like if you go to a restaurant, you don't need to know what's going on in the kitchen. You just want to taste the food. If you enjoyed it, if the chefs did a good job, the service was great, that's all you really care about. So I'm here to tell you that, and I'm not saying it's bad, I'm just saying sometimes there's more work and effort and sorting things out and stress and pressures and complications than you'll ever know. But I do appreciate the fact that at least you like the service. Oh, yes, Chappie was supposed to shave my head. And I feel like that was that 2 seasons ago? But see, now we have kind of the built-in thing where we can't have contact. So, look, if this were an option right now, based on this, are you guys, and especially you, Eric, Puck Guy 14, I would ham it up for a TV segment. So, we'll see. Maybe by the end of baseball season, but hopefully, like literally in the next month or two, I got to get shot up. I got to get this haircut. Please. Yes, Zach. Rest in peace, Walter Gretzky. Long hair gang. Megarol, you have long hair right now too? Jessica, yeah, I'm looking at your avatar right there. You do have curly hair. So see, I mean, I guess I'm saying this is curly. Sorry, is it up there? Yeah, there you go. I'm just saying it's wavy. If I said curly before, I didn't mean it. My hair's wavier than I ever expected. Let me get back to this here. The hockey flow requires lots of oil. Man, I am way behind here on the chat, guys. I apologize. I'll get to these here. Shampooing every day is a big no-no. Try to do every other day or 3 days. Okay, so that's good to know. I'm just from the school of shampoo, body wash every single time because I had short hair. I never knew how to do this. But I've also started using a bit more moisturizing of the scalp, trying to keep those essential oils in. Am I saying that right? Am I doing that right? Julian, I'm sorry I didn't get to you before. I kind of touched on this before. Yes, I think the A's will definitely contend. 97 wins or the equivalent of it last year for each of the last 3 seasons. I don't see that number fluctuating greatly. I saw a prediction the other day that they'd be barely above 500. I saw another one that said they were going to be below 500. I think that is. Can I find a sound effect for that? Or, sorry, I just wanted to play the beer one. That has nothing to do with it. Do I have a sound effect? Yeah, you think the A's are going to be a 500 team this year, or less than 500 team? No, that's almost a joke. You know what I think of that? Oh, I didn't realize, you know what? I didn't realize I have a laugh track here. Hey-o! How do I like the A's new stadium plans? Love them. There's a video on my channel about that. The newest design renderings. Kind of a departure from what we had seen in the prior 2 major releases so far. So I talk about all that. Check out that video. It's on here before you leave, or check it out at some other time. Look, I think they keep getting better and better. And in all this delay and you know, COVID-19 setting us back even farther, I will say this. The more time it takes to do this, and this is a generational, once-in-a-lifetime project, right? You only get one chance to get this right. Honesty camera up here. In all seriousness, the more renderings, the more rounds of this, the more batches that come out, the better. You're going to get overall a better design the more time that people have to create this and to get it right. So of all things, and as other hurdles continue to pop up, not Tomasz hurdles, but hurdles, that's the good thing about this, is that the design is only going to get better and better with time and with rounds. Ronald, you love the Jumbo impersonation, huh? Hey, for the boys. Yeah. Was he calls Willie Nylander Willie Styles, but yeah. Sorry, it's just not as good here. It's not as good when Curtis isn't here. Because I get more motivated when I see Brownie looking at me like, oh. So yeah. Jumbo. Yeah. Also, it sounds different on this mic for some reason. Or maybe it sounds better in my head. The A's going to pay Chapman to stay in Oakland. Damn, I sure hope so. I mean, look, Chapman, Olsen, and Marcus, to me, was in the same category. Poster boys of the franchise. Like, staples of the franchise. Couldn't keep Marcus, didn't even, really make a move on Marcus. So we'll see. I mean, the one thing you know about Chapman and Olsen specifically, basically on identical timelines, right, of when arbitration starts and when their ultimate free agency happens. And so we're going to see it. And whether you like it or not, excuse me, it's going to be a statement. Whatever they do, keep them for a ton, don't retain them. Whatever they do is going to be a huge statement one way or the other. It's just going to be a huge swing. There's no other way to put it. When does Mario become captain? Don't show your bias for Logan. Okay, Hot Wheels. I got this for... Hot Wheels, you don't know me well enough. If I were to pick, like, literally 2 of the, fan favorite. Let me go into fan mode. All right? Logan Couture number 1. And this is not to take away from anybody else. Burnsy. I mean, look, I've known Logan longer than I've known Burnsy. Like, Burnsy only came in 2011? Been watching Logan since 2009 when he came up. First game. Saw it all. In fact, saw it in person, like, real close when I was doing the ringside stuff. So that's my connection to Logan. Like, his first year kind of was around my first year. And I just, but Mario, Mr. Youngest of Plugs. By the way, make sure you subscribe to Mario's channel, Youngest of Plugs. He's not making videos during the season, obviously, too busy, focusing on the condensed hockey season. But if you're asking me, like, who's the dude? Yeah. And I'm glad to see him recently getting a lot of credit from teammates. I heard Knyzhov said that Mario's, like, literally one of the default leaders. I could have told you that was going to be the case last season in his first shortened campaign. You can tell the guy's got attitude, work ethic, and the skills are on the up and up. I mean, not that they were bad to begin with. I'm just saying that when you're a side of 65 and a 44 and an 88, like, it's already hard enough to crack this league on a regular basis, but especially as a D-man and especially surrounded by those types of players and fit in with those types of players and play minutes that Carlson's also getting and play high minutes and play against the McKinnon line and all that stuff. So my point is, I love Mario. I think he's a future piece of this team. In the same way that people way back when were like, yeah, Pavelski's a future part of this team. Vlasic's a future part of this team. Like the homegrown product type, where you remember when they came up. Logan, you knew they would be the, a staple of the team. Mario's going to be that. So I look forward to that. And I think the personality he's got to go along with all that stuff on and off the ice and with fans is awesome. So Hot Wheels, I hope I did your question and comment justice. Mario is awesome. And realistically, however many years it is for Logan down the road, he's signed long-term. Like, this is not, not changing. But if Mario's around and when Logan is done playing, whatever, Mario, should be that guy. But I don't think Logan's going anywhere anytime soon. MLB just came out with their power rankings. The A's are 12. You know what? Whatever. Like I said before, whatever. And those social media things that the leagues put out and the league networks put out, like, honestly, who does that stuff? An intern? And do they do it? Yes. Here's the rhetorical question. Do they do it just to get a rise out of people? Yeah. That stuff has less to do with accuracy, more to do with how many people are going to comment on this and retweet it and share it. Oh, James! Wait a second. James Angel, the person who drew the thumbnail of this live stream. James, I'm sorry. You probably commented on this like 10 minutes ago and I'm just getting around to it. I appreciate, oh my goodness, I'm way behind on the comments. James, I still appreciate you doing that. Curtis loves that. That's like his favorite image. He laughs at that every time he sees it. If you ever get the inclination to do another crazy one that is a huge chirp to me, like maybe with the crazy hair or something, like whenever you want to do a drawing that makes me look stupid, I'm all up for that. DM me or hit me up on Twitter or whatever. Get at me, and I would love to. And however I can help you showcase your work, glad to do that also. So, Mayos, I love your videos. Who's Mayos? Oh, Mayos is the other channel. Sorry, I'm sorry. I'm not familiar with you, Mayos. I'm kind of new to YouTube, honestly. Like I watched YouTube for a long time. I guess I officially joined in the 2000s, but as far as the community side of it goes. Oh, Brian, great question. Will Drew be on Friday or Saturday? How about both? Drew's next 2 appearances, I'm not sure if they're his last 2 appearances, but he will be on with us on Friday and Saturday. And then is it... I don't know. Nope, I don't. I hit pause. I'm not sure about that, actually. No, but he will be on Friday and Saturday. I'm not sure after that. Can you use your influence to get the Sharks to play a preseason game out here at the Maverick Center in Utah so I can see my team live? 2 years without season tickets is driving you insane. Misfit, I love your avatar there. I love that Northern California logo from the Stadium Series game. That was awesome. I don't know. I think the Avs would have a little issue with that. The Golden Knights think that's their territory. And preseason games, with the way that training camps are for the NHL, it's imperative that they just stay relatively close. Even the games they do play in Anaheim, like they fly there and fly back the same night. Fly there the same day, fly back the same night. So out of state, like far out of state, is tough. Let's see here. Do I think Houston got the right amount? That's a great question of punishment for the cheating. Julian, let me respond like this. Last year with no fans, and I'm not saying that they deserved like the like the Game of Thrones. Shame. Do I have a bell ding? Shame. That's it's ding. I'm not saying that's like proper procedure, but they didn't even have to face any ramifications from going across the country and into stadiums where people were going to let them know how they thought about them. And that's probably going to happen this year, but it'll be tempered because, number one, not every stadium will have even a quarter, a fraction, an eighth capacity, or even anybody guaranteed. So, no, I don't think they got the right amount. I mean, clearly, players were not going to be punished. It was only going to be people at higher levels. And all those guys had to do was just come clean. Sorry, we thought everybody else was doing it. We thought this was a thing that we were doing and everybody was doing, so we did it. Even if I heard that, would have been better than, all the we're pumped up, chip on our shoulder stuff. We hate everybody. It's ridiculous. I'll move on. Hi, Brody Canna here. Hi, Brody Canna here. Canna Uber Alice. Canna above everybody else. Is that what I'm translating here? Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Trade deadline, by the way, is April 12th. I don't know what the league's going to look like, and I don't even want to speculate on Sharks players. And I know some are going through rough seasons. Yeah. You know what? Let's talk next month about that. Definitely. Let's see here. Well, you know what? I'm looking at the comments, and it's, yes, Dylan, I do think that Blickfeld is going to get suspended. Specifically, I think he's going to get 2 games. If that, oh, I see that got responded to right here. Yes, he did get 2 games. I was trying to be a smart ass, so sorry about that. Brody, I got to take off. Please tell Drew Amanda to go as Mr. Clean for Halloween. I've thought about that. You know, should I welcome him on the broadcast tomorrow like that? Oh, and by the way, Curtis Brown is not with us tomorrow night. And we said this last night on TV, but I'll just say it again here on YouTube. He's a healthy scratch. I'm going to say it that way when we start the show. I know in these times of COVID, everybody's worried about where's Curtis. I'm concerned. He's healthy, and in hockey terms, he's a healthy scratch. No, actually, it's going to be great to have Hanner on. He's been doing radio so far this year. I think he's doing 5 or 6 total games with us, but doing these 2, great opportunity for him to get in. Brownie, get a little rest. And, you know, we love having Hanner around too. In fact, I mean, look, optimally for me, I'd love to have Brownie and Hanner both on a lot of our shows together. But this weird season and everything else going on, just not how it's rolling. Tyler, I appreciate that. I will be back on TV talking about the A's sooner than later. I don't want to give any foresight into how it's going to work, but I will say this. The 2 seasons are going to greatly overlap. Opening day for the A's, April 1st, and last game of the regular season for the Sharks is May 8th, right? Beyond that, I don't know. Will they make the playoffs? I don't know. At this point, looks like a tough task to get there. But long story short, about 5 weeks of overlap. The question lies for me: what will I do? In years past, I have bounced back and forth. Sharks games on the nights they're playing, A's games on all the in-between nights. I don't know if it's going to be that case this time around. So, I'm not the boss at NBC, believe it or not. So I will wait and see what happens. But I do have a sense and a feeling that I'll be doing A's baseball pretty soon. In fact, maybe as soon as they start. NBC themes are goated. See, I'm way behind. I played those like 5 minutes ago. You need to start getting some aviation clips in there. You know what? I have some on the channel here. I just don't know if people, you know, it's like if I'm a Italian restaurant, but I have a great burrito, but if you came here for the pasta and the lasagna, why serve the burrito? You know, it's kind of a weird thing. Crazy analogy too. What are the chances on the Sharks beating Vegas in these back-to-back games? Zach, are you saying sweeping the series? That'd be tough. In fact, was I looking earlier today? Did I see somewhere that the Sharks do not have back-to-back wins this year? That'd be nice. You know, they kind of accomplished their first blowout, one-sided win the other night against the Avs, scoring 6 straight. I do think that winning 2 in a row would also be a next step for them. Get a glue gel and spike your hair. Ooh, that'd take a lot of product. First thing you're going to do when the pandemic is over. And Andrew, that's a, you know, I think about this often. I really do. Things I miss. It could be as simple as having drinks with friends. And I don't mean like one friend from a social distance, acceptable distance. Getting together, I mean, I guess you kind of slowly edge into this. I just want to say, Andrew, I don't think this is all going away like that. It felt like it came on like that. I don't know that it's going away like that. So I'll ramp into it, but look, traveling, I'd really like to go on a vacation. And so would everybody. Like join the club, Brazil. But somewhere where I could just get a change of scenery and refresh for a while. Here's the other thing. I know a lot of people, because of the way 2020 worked out, and a lot of people working from home and working not less but differently, there's this notion out there that people didn't work as hard last year. I feel like I worked harder. I did less TV shows overall, but all the other stuff I was doing, interviews, home studio, digital, social, I felt like I was working harder than normal. And so now it's like, why do I feel burnt out sometimes? Why do I feel like I need a breather, I need a break? It's because we all do. And that's my situation. I know you guys all have, different situations, but similar in that sense too. You've been grinding too. Everybody's been on their grind. Greg, life gets better after 40. I would love for you to elaborate on that, Greg, and I appreciate you saying that. So that goes to show I was talking about the 40 stuff a while back. Will I be doing a segment called Hurdle if you're watching? We've mentioned that a few times. We've joked about that a few times. I should text Tomash and see if he'll send us a video. I just don't want to impose. Maybe when the 2 weeks gets closer to being up, maybe I'll reach out. We'll see what he's been doing. Misfit, how is Bakes doing? Jamie Baker, can you let him know everyone loves him and misses him? I'll be perfectly honest. I haven't had direct contact with him, but I'll just say this because it's not my area of knowledge, and I don't want to misspeak. I do know he's in great hands, and I'm in the same boat. I wish him well too. And I think about him a lot during this hockey season. And, every other year that I've done, he's been around. And whether I'm asking him questions or we're having talks about last game or tonight's game and all the, quite honestly, I hope you guys all understand when I say this. For me, like when he was on our pre and post game shows, I don't miss all that because that's what we do. What I really miss is the stuff that you guys never got to see. And that's, we're in the office and I'm like, hey Bakes, tell me, like, what is this? What is this all about? Where I get the true sense and gut instinct from a person who's been around hockey their entire life. Like that and selfish of me to say that, right? Because all you guys got to experience was Bakes on TV. I got to experience the real life stuff. That's probably the best way to put it. I miss him in the real life sense, way more than I miss the TV, the work side of it. I miss the personal side way more than the work side of it. Eric, you remember when I turned 30? What was that, about 10 years ago? Boy, does time fly. Ronald missing Bakes too. Sean, keep up the great work you do on NBC Sports up here in Santa Rosa. I appreciate that, Sean. You be safe up there as well too. I love Santa Rosa. Like I said before, love the North Bay in general. Santa Rosa, Sonoma, Napa. That's a great place to be up there. You know what? That would be another thing that I'd want to go do. And I think it's kind of opened up now. Just a day of wine tasting. And I mean like heavy wine tasting. Like a lot of wine tasting. Like get a car to drive you up there type wine tasting. Do I have a general guess when SAP will open to Sharks fans this season? Linda, I think being realistic about it, and seeing how much time is left in the season, and also seeing the reward, not risk, but effort versus reward of opening this up and how small it would have to start. I don't know. I know the Sharks are working very hard to help that happen. They're not in control of this either. But if it were, they'd want to facilitate that. They want to do the best for their fans, so long as it's safe and procedural and everybody feels comfortable about it. But what I'm looking at, Linda, is the time ticking away on it, right? So it's not a matter of would they want to or would they help or would they. I just look at the realistic part of, we're basically 2 months away, maybe for the last month, but we'd have to see the trends that we have enjoyed in the last month. You definitely have to see more of that same in the next month. A Randy Johnson mullet? Is that what you think this looks like? Just looked at the update on the South Rink at Sharks Ice. Have you been keeping up? Yeah, you know what? I've seen all the photos, and I can't wait for the Barracuda to have their own facilities, small ice rink. I mean, you think of other tournaments and stuff that could be held there. That's going to be a valuable facility for the city of San Jose, for Sharks Ice, for the Junior Sharks. like more than just the Barracuda. I'm glad that is in the family of Sharks products. Literally a whole second arena and facility that is downsized. And I think it's going to do the Barracuda a huge favor. Like you go to their games now, it's in an NHL-sized building. Forget the upper deck. Like the lower deck is only full to a certain percentage, and rightfully so. I mean, you're talking about a different product. But having their own building, smaller facility, more intimate, more exciting, I think that's going to grow the Barracuda's popularity, grow the game's popularity. People that otherwise normally wouldn't go want to check this out. And I know the Sharks running it are going to do a tremendous job at making this an exciting product that's similar enough, but quite honestly, different enough from what the Sharks product is. So I'm excited about it. Do I think the NHL's Department of Player Safety will ever be consistent, other than being consistently inconsistent? Hockey guy, you answered your own question, and I agree with you. Probably not. Are both games back-to-back against Vegas? Yep, Friday, tomorrow, and Saturday against VGK. Ronald, I don't know what I said, but I'm glad you liked it. Stay out of the box. That's your catchphrase, Zach. What do I think about Rudolph Balcers and Ryan Donato so far? Lately, especially, and Donato maybe earlier in the year kind of hit his stride more, but I'm not mad at his game right now. I'd love to see him in more shootouts. We haven't seen that in a bit. But no, I would throw John Leonard in that same conversation. And I saw an article. Was it Kersey, Kevin Kurz from The Athletic that wrote that earlier today? What just happened there? Some kind of hang on one second. I saw somebody hop on the super chat, so I'm going to get to that in just a second. What do I think about Balcers and Donato and John Leonard? Oh, Kersey wrote something about how the rest of this season and what Bob Bugner can do for the Sharks is going to be based on how the young players progress this year into next year. And I got to say, those three in particular have caught my eye. And Mario too, right? Mario Ferraro. Did I say Mario or Mario? And Knizov. So there's enough interesting players here that and I'll say, if you want to talk about what's a departure from last year to this year, there's enough interesting, steady players this year to make me think that they could take next steps. Last year, they tried out a bunch of young guys, and none of them they just weren't ready. And I don't mean like they couldn't stick or they'll never stick. They just, at that point, were not sticking. So I'm pretty encouraged about that. All right, Darius, thank you for being on the super chat, buddy. I really do appreciate that. Thoughts on the McKinnon hit? I did a whole live stream about it last night, but let me, you don't need to do the super chat, but I'll be honest, I do appreciate that. I want to let you know, anybody that does the super chat, you know what I take this money and do with it? I buy more stuff for the studio to make these live streams better. All this, where is it here? All this gear right here to let me, manipulate this and control it from one person, and to try and have you see me and hear me clearly. And I've got the production background, but I've invested all this just all on my own to be able to do these live streams. So just to be very transparent about it. But basic overwhelming thoughts here. For Blickfeld to not play a lot, right? First game of the season, was looking to make an impact on the game, make a mark on it. Thought that he was already going back to the bench. Saw McKinnon chasing the puck. Thought this would be a prime opportunity to separate player from puck right in front of his teammates, right in front of his coach, and put that on the good things he did last night. And I think what's regrettable is just the angle of contact, because it's at that 90 degrees and because McKinnon is nose over the puck and head down. In fact, he kind of lunged into it. And I would also say that you look at the hit, like the way Blickfeld laid it, it's not like he rises up with the shoulder. The end of it kind of wrapping around maybe doesn't help the cause. In fact, more of his backside is into McKinnon. Is the head the principal point of contact? No, I don't think so. Did it make contact? Yes. People say there was a glancing blow. I think it was more than that. I don't want to hear any conversation about McKinnon went down too easy or he's faking something. That's ridiculous. So the 2-game suspension, probably in line with what I realistically thought would happen. What I was saying before is that if you hand him down a 5-game suspension because McKinnon is a superstar and Blickfeld is not, then I thought that would be ridiculous. I thought that'd be insulting to the rest of the league's players, telling them that they're less protected. But I just want to see consistency. From here on out, you do that, let's all know that it's a match penalty, 5-minute major, and a 2-game suspension. Let's have just that be the standard instead of playing the guessing game. So Darius, I hope I answered everything that you were hoping there. But there was a lot to unpack. A lot to unpack with just that one hit last night. And I'm also going to say this. It's dumb for anybody to comment and say, well, that changed the game or that handed the Avs the win. No, they were already up 2-0. And they only got one goal in the 5-minute major to make it 3-0 and 4-0 eventually later. So game was already pretty much decided halfway through the third period. Zach, are you making a request for Sharky to be on? Are you Sharky? I know you're not. I know who Sharky is. We'll see. You know, it's not a bad idea. We'll see. He's just not a great guest. He doesn't have a speaking role. You want more Jumbo impersonation? Hey, bro, you're on Free Game Live, but I do it for the boys. Yeah, Jumbo. I feel like I'm not nailing it tonight. I don't know what it is. Is it the scenery? Is it the fact that I'm alone? I have no clue. Calgary just fired their head coach. All right, I'm not... Wait a second. Is that true? They just hired Daryl Sutter? Daryl's back? No. It's too bad they're not in the same division as the Sharks this year. Back to baseball. A's are the perpetual underdogs, fine by me. Yeah, I mean, look. People have been saying the same thing each of the last couple of years. What do the A's do? 97 wins. 97 wins. And last year, the equivalent of 97 wins and won the division. Do I think the A's ownership will invest more into players when there's a stadium being built in Oakland? I hope that there is a relationship between their stadium plans and their team building plans, and I hope it all comes together like I know it could. Oh man, just think, like this is so crazy. You have some teams are like, well, we got to build the stadium now. Our team, we'll try and build it, but we're not sure if we can do it. We'll try. The A's literally have the team and the core that everybody would want. Build the stadium to go with it. Simple as that. And I'm saying that rhetorically. I know that's what they're working on. I know it's what they're trying to do. Wow, a 3-year deal for Daryl. According to Pierre LeBrun. AJ, you know what? You're going to get some amazing press conferences. Daryl, what do you think of your team's loss tonight? How do I think tomorrow's game will go for the Sharks? Ooh. I mean, based on the Marchessault thing, based on the games that Šimek missed, based on the fact that the Sharks kind of called themselves out on not responding after Redeem got hit by Marchessault last game, based on the fact that, so wasn't the last Sharks Las Vegas game, that was postponed, right, because of Hurdle's COVID test, and the practice before everything went down on that Wednesday, like the Sharks were literally giving each other fighting tips at the end of practice because they were preparing for Las Vegas. Don't think that's going to change because a little bit more time has passed. I'm interested to see what happens strategy-wise and extracurricular-wise tomorrow night. Jumbo needs his number retired as soon as he announces his retirement. How about this? Does it go up? Is there like a retirement weekend at SAP Center in like, I don't know, whatever, years down the road? 12 go. I popped my mic. I'm sorry about that. 12 goes up on a Friday night home game, and 19 goes up the next night. Think about that. Think about going to those two games. Back-to-back retirement ceremony, and then to see 12 and 19 up there together, like it's going to happen, right? It's got to happen. It has to happen. It's got to happen. I can't have it play the goal song because then I'll definitely get copyright whacked. All A's ownership expects fans to invest in a team when they won't invest in the team. Look, I know we're upset about not keeping Marcus, not keeping Liam. Look at the deals they got. Even a Tommy LaStella pisses me off to see him on the other side of the bay. It really, really does. I love Tommy LaStella in our short time watching him with Oakland. But look at the team that they have taken the field here. Are you upset about it? I know it's not the faces you were comfortable with. And I would have loved to have keep both those guys and more still. I'm only naming the main names. Robbie Grossman also. But we'll see. I want to fast forward to, I said this before, probably, gosh, how long have I been streaming for? 55 minutes! I said this before. You'll have a really good indication when Chapman and Olsen, and there's others too, like Sean Manaea's deal, will come up too. His time will come up, but you'll have a really good indication when you know it's time. Well, yeah, I guess that, boy, that Daryl thing must have just happened recently because I see a lot of comments about it. Let me try and catch up here. Has there been any discussion of more appearances by Ty99? Yes, Drew Remenda. Aldany, he will be on tomorrow night and Saturday. Back-to-back nights with Remenda from Saskatchewan. And by the way, I'm not going to give away what we did, but you already saw it maybe on Twitter earlier today. In this home studio today, myself, Randy Hahn, Drew Remenda taped a really fun segment. I can't wait for you guys to see it. I don't even want to tell you what it's all about. The boys were cracking up. Some old stories, some chirps, everything. It had everything. So you'll be, trust me, you'll be seeing that sooner than later. I won't let you miss that. Hurdle has the vote for favorite player. Boy, I sure hope he comes out of COVID, just fine. I mean, just like, healthy fine, but also can pick up his game in a good spot, right? Mario's the second coming of Vlasic. I mean, different players, different personalities, a lot of difference, but I think, yes. I mean, like, homegrown product that you're like, you can already see it. You can see the potential and capabilities. Sports media has East Coast bias, most power rankings. Yeah, I would tend to agree. But I'm telling you, what I was saying earlier about that is, these polls and these predictions are made to just get a rise from people. If everybody agrees with it, they're not going to retweet it. They're not going to comment on it. They're not going they put this stuff out, the leagues do on social media to get you to talk about it. So, of course, they're going to try and push your buttons. Chase, I appreciate that. Of course, I'll take time out of my busy day to do these live streams and the after game recaps late at night. Yes. You know what? And sometimes I literally try and get them done. I think about what I want to do on the way home. I try and come in here and knock it out in 10, 15 minutes because I got dinner to eat, bed and sleep to get. But I appreciate the being a truest goat, Chase. I appreciate your compliment there. And I just think this way of reaching all of you is so critical. I think it's so valuable. And so that's why I'm here. I'm no dummy. I know this is where people are. I want to go where people are. And the technology's here. I have this technology. I want to utilize it. Favorite part of your Sharks job? You know what it is I would say this, different from the A's in that baseball is a wider audience, more people from the Bay Area grew up playing baseball. I love the hockey aspect where, it's a bit of a challenge because I don't want to alienate the casual fan especially when Curtis breaks something down. So translating it, just kind of being the middleman. But I really do, and I can't do it right now, but I love interacting with the players. I love doing longer form interviews with them, asking the questions that all of you probably have that you would want to ask too. I get to ask them those questions. Stuff that if you watch all the games, they're like, oh, I got to ask this player that question. So I do love those opportunities. So I guess that's, if that's my favorite part, player interaction, when that's a thing, again, I'll definitely love it. My favorite part is definitely not hanging out with Robin, a.k.a. Curtis Brown. Of course, because I'm Batman. Do I think the NHL will make the outdoor games in Tahoe a tradition? I hope they didn't get scared off because they screwed up the daytime thing. Drop the puck at dusk. You will love the scenery. You'll love having morning skate with the beautiful blue sky and all that stuff, and you'll love all that. But have the puck drop at dusk, and you know what? It's the scenery, the red, purplish sky, and all that stuff. You're gonna play a little bit under the lights. You're gonna love it. So I really do hope they come back, and I hope they could have a full, like, they set up that entire, rink and facilities for 2 games. Build that for a week's worth of games and have maybe 5 or 6 teams come up there and have each team play, I guess, 2 games. If you have 5 teams, 2 games, 10 total teams, 5 games, or no, 10 different matchups. Whatever. It's getting late. You see what I'm saying? But yeah, call it the Tahoe week. Do like ski week. I think that'd be awesome. And build a small, when fans are allowed, build small bleachers. So you could have a capacity of like 2,000, something like that. When's the mixtape dropping? Pretty soon. Wait, what would it? You want some beats? Uh-oh. Looks like my son might have... Is he waking up? Or did he just roll over? Hard to tell. I got to keep an eye on that. Missing Game of Thrones. I do too. I've been binging on a lot of different series lately, but Game of Thrones was one that it was appointment streaming and appointment viewing. More aviation, please. Okay, you know what? All right, I'll get to that. I promise I will. Ever been to Newark? Yes, Julian, of course. Home of the Newark Memorial Cougars. Yeah, I've been all over the Bay. I've also been to Newark, New Jersey, if you are, if that's what you're talking about here. Come to the games in Phoenix, you'll buy me a beer. Oh, I see a tail of a certain kind of airplane. Looks like a FA something. Can't really tell. Oh, sun laid back down. Good, perfect. I think he just needed a drink of water. But see that? Look, all of this stuff going on here, all of this and all of that and all that, lights, camera, action. And you can't see it, but so the home setup here is the camera I'm talking into is right above that monitor. But then around this thing, there's an air conditioning unit and the baby monitor's over there too. So I try and keep this view kind of clean. Like there's a TV over here. If I'm like when I was doing A's pre and post games this year, I had the TV on. I had the special studio feed on the computer monitor here. And I can also switch this to be kind of a multi-view monitor up here as well. Anyway, you don't need to know all that, but there's how do I get back to that? There we go. There's a lot going on here, simply said. And I do get distracted sometimes. Promise if the Sharks make the playoffs, you should make a public promise that you will dye your flow teal. You know what? I mean, and like people would be, okay, you know what? EDP's toilet, interesting, that I'm talking to you, or interesting handle. It would be, think about this, where the Sharks are at now and odds of making the playoffs. Think of the story and the Cinderella nature it would have if they make the playoffs. And if you look at their team, it's not like out of reason, right? So, yeah, that's what I'm here to say. Like, all right, it's kind of like being down to Las Vegas by a handful of goals with about 10 minutes left in the third period of Game 7, right? It sets the stage for, we'll see what happens. Ronald, you're an airport junkie. That's awesome. All right, more aviation videos. I'll work on that. I appreciate you guys saying that. Kind of wish I could do the wine tasting thing, Sean B, but I have the Asian glow. I'd rather take in the high life. So you're a beer guy than drinking. Oh, take in the high life than drinking alcohol. Thought you were talking Miller High Life. Yeah, you know what? Sean, my wife, is quarter Japanese, and she talks about the inability of her body to process wine specifically. Like me, it soaks in. Her, it doesn't soak in. So I get it. Do I see the Sharks making any big trades or moves this season? Realistically, I don't know how the whole trade deadline is going to go. And you think about, I want to point this out, teams in the North Division, if a player goes from an American team to a Canadian team, they have to be quarantined for 14 days. So from April 12th, you're literally not going to get the player until the end of April with 8 days left in the regular season. That's almost pointless unless you are 100% sure you're going to be in the playoffs. So there's one whole division that's not going to deal with the other three, likely. So I don't know how this whole deadline is going to be. But it's so I it's not would they or could they. And also I think if they're going to help their team take next steps, I think that's going to happen more in an off-season nature. Prediction? That would be my gut instinct. We never televise the national anthem because the time it happens, we have to take certain breaks, commercial breaks before the puck drops, and it's best for us to take a break while that's happening and come back at the very tail end of it. Otherwise, we have to join it in progress or cut away as it's just starting. So we try and take that commercial break as it's happening so that we don't step on it, basically. Brody, that back and forth between you and Brownie where he has to go see his therapist. Yeah, Curtis will tell you that he's missing tomorrow night, not because he's just getting a rest and, Hanner's getting a couple shifts. Brownie will say that, and we have done 20 games together now, Brownie will say that his therapist only allows him to do 20 at a time before getting a rest from me. When do I think Ryan Merkley will get a shot? They've kind of said not likely this year. I just want to. I don't want to see him rushed, right? I look at Mario as a staple D-man of the future. Knyzhov, same thing. And Clayson recently coming in and getting a little chance. So my point is, I just don't want to see any player rushed, overexposed, break their confidence. That was something the Sharks were doing a handful of years ago back. And a lot of players, I think it took them extra years and extra time to develop after they made their debut, longer than it should have, because they were trying to compete at the NHL level, learn on the fly, and they just weren't ready yet. So, really looking forward to seeing Gambrell develop as a player. I would agree with you there. And that's a player that I probably don't talk about enough, and that's my fault. But I think that there are next steps for him. After Canna's hip injury, so Canna had one years ago. Are we talking about Matt Chapman? I think Matt Chapman's going to be just fine. He's going to take it super slow this spring training. Why not? But I know I could see it in his eyes that he's been doing all the recovery and he's been doing so much rehab to make sure that he's extra right. That we'll find out how the range works and how he feels and in game situations and a long season. But what I'm saying is I'm reading the body language of his confidence about the whole thing, and that lets me know that everything's going to be just fine. Oh, man. Sorry. Oh, I just scrolled. Now I scrolled way past the comments here, and I lost my place. What happened to Puck's flow? AJ Puck, wait a second. Fletcher, Uber Alice. Wait a second. That's not an Oakland A. I have AJ Puck's hair. He sent it to me. Actually, his is super straight. Hunter, your flow is similar. Love it, man. There you go. Yep, it's right out the back. You can't see where's the old Lululemon logo on the back here? You can't see it, but that's a Lululemon headband, which I telling you, big recommendations. Great headband. I got it in December. Been rocking it regularly ever since. Oh, but hey, Blickfeld didn't leave his feet. Yeah, we'll mention that to Drew tomorrow night. Joachim Blickfeld did not leave his feet. Drew will tell you it's impossible for any human being to leave their feet unless amputation is involved. It wasn't his intent to injure. We're talking about the Blickfeld hit last night. Suspension's a joke. Hurdle getting headshot by Barbashev in Game 5 a couple years ago. I totally agree. All I'm asking for, Toilet, is... Oh, wait a second, Toilet, I've got something for you here. I honestly have something for you. Let's bring in a question from EDP's toilet. All right. EDP's toilet. All right. Not forcing around. All right, Brazil. I'm probably going to keep this stream going until maybe 11. That would put me at, oh my gosh, like an hour and a half. What did I say I was going to do? 20 minutes here at first? It never happens that way. Let's see here. Where was I? No, none. And it's not to be cruel. That's not my, it's not my expertise. Let me see here. Rays finally got to win the World Series and hit that rebuild button. I guess that's what they're doing. Yeah. I don't think they ever are either. Sharks haven't been responding to much since that game. Sharks haven't been responding much since that game to stuff. They sure talk a lot about it, though. I think maybe we were talking about the Las Vegas game. They didn't respond to Marchessault's hit on Radim Šimek. We'll see tomorrow. We'll really see tomorrow and on Saturday. Canelo versus Saunders. Honestly, look, how do I say this? I'm so deep in hockey right now and being a dad and getting ready for baseball. I honestly don't have time for and doing 90-minute live streams here on YouTube. I don't have enough time. No, I'm letting Joe be in Toronto. I'm letting him go. Joe Thornton, by the way, and this is not my experience, but what I hear about Jumbo, huge FaceTimer, loves to FaceTime people. Let me see here. LeSteller. Yep, Tommy LeStella is definitely LeSteller. Tommy LeStella is your dad? All right, let's see what other comments we have here. You don't have to comment on it, but I could feel it in my blood. Drew is back, Marty. Look, it's been awesome to have Drew and the situation like presented itself where two things. The Oilers let him go, and the pandemic's happening right now, and we're not opposed. Oh, I popped the mic again. We're not opposed to, the remote thing via how we do it. I think it's actually via Zoom. We have another way to do it remotely, but anyway, from his house in Saskatchewan. So, the timing of all this happened where it made a lot of sense, and people like the idea. So we'll see. Yeah, I agree. I'm not going to comment. I'm not the boss of the network. I don't make the high level decisions. When I heard he was coming back, specifically on our shows, I was super excited. I've had a long relationship with Drew, certainly not as long as Randy has. But I go back to watching Drew on TV before I worked with him. Look, if something happens for the future, I'd be super excited about that. So I don't want to comment much more, like I said, on the potential of it, but I like the idea. Absolutely. The return of Late Night Confidential. Should you break out? Should you be okay with the beverage? Oh, I should be okay with the beverage. Did we ever drink on Late Night Confidential? I don't even remember. No, I'm okay with the late night beverage. But by the way, I recently released just a small teaser clip, and I only have a couple of them saved from like 2010 or 11. But I'll put out a couple more of those as time goes on. When will I cut my hair? At this point, just because of the situation and considerations and stuff you guys do and don't also know, probably right after I get vaccinated. Probably do it right after that. All right, let's see what else here. Hello? Oh my God. Awesome setup. Wow. Best setup you've ever seen? You're talking about the YouTube studio? I appreciate that. Look, I am a person who is on television, presenter, host, reporter, whatever other titles I've ever had. But my background in TV, it started with production, lighting, audio, camera stuff. So look, everything on the desk here has been specifically studied and purchased and researched and programmed. I've got this thing dialed in exactly how well. I mean, if I had a couple more $1,000, I'd do this or that. But I have it exactly how, the optimal setting of how you'd want to do this. So I appreciate that compliment because, I just put this together based on production background. Did it all myself. Will Jed Lowry be a good second baseman or is it all hype? Has he ever played second base before for the A's? I just think whatever was happening with him in the Mets, like injury and another setback and just it could be one of those Eric Chavez situations though, but that benefits the A's. I said the same thing about Xavi. I thought when he departed Oakland, it was like, I just think the injuries are too much. Like it's overtaken him. Next thing you know, he's playing like 75, 80 games a year with the Yankees. So it goes to show you that there are opportunities for players to bounce back. I certainly hope that he's in the mix. I'm not mad at a Chad Pinder or a Tony Kemp or a Vimael Machine, whoever can play second base. But if Jed's in the conversation, I'm glad and I want him to be. I think he's also a great teammate too for these guys. I miss your doing podcasts or live streams with Ahmed Fareed. Any chance you could have him on sometime? I think about how fortunate you were to have your setup before the pandemic hit. Yeah, faith for life. I text Ahmed here and there. I know he's doing great things out at the big network. And I know NBCSN is changing quite a bit. I know you guys have heard a lot about that. And you guys have also asked me a lot of questions. NBCSN changing at the end of this year is different than NBC Sports California, Bay Area, Chicago, Boston, Philadelphia. There's NBC Sports networks around the country. The regional setups like I work for are totally different than the national network that he works for. Look at that hair. That was bad. But he's going to be super busy. Look, I know they like him out there. They have him do a lot. He does a lot of different rugby and horse racing. And you know what? It's not a bad idea. I would love to have, especially with baseball season coming up, and I could do the setup here pretty easy, Could do the setup where I have Ahmed join me here on a live stream on YouTube. And he could just join in via FaceTime on his phone. And yes, you're right. Look, my mouse is down there. I was super lucky to have all this set up before the pandemic hit, and not just because I could just turn it on and go. And we did it. I literally did 120 plus A's pre and post game shows from this space in my house. But also buying equipment. Like if I waited to not have all this stuff, I was researching, getting a couple additional things I needed, and everybody was trying to get like this A10 Mini Pro ISO switcher. Everybody was trying to get this, or Stream Decks, or the Apollo, because now they needed to work from home and they didn't have this stuff. So acquiring equipment was near impossible. So just getting stuff was difficult. You're right. I was lucky to have this well in advance. Oh, the B-52 you were in charge of, that's what your icon is. It burned down a few years ago. I have to hear about that story. Let me just do a couple more here. How long do I predict before fans can go to Sharks games? Look, I said it before, and let me repeat myself in case you might have missed it. I would look at the last month of this season. Guess it could be sooner than that, but I would look at that last month. And I also think if you see people going to baseball games before hockey games, that would not surprise me either, just because of the indoor versus outdoor nature. Hockey, basketball, it's all tough, right? Indoor versus outdoor, stadiums versus arenas, stadiums being way more open, cavernous. So my prediction would be look at the final month of the Sharks regular season from early April to early May. But even then, I honestly don't know. And I don't want to get ahead of myself here. Julian, you asked me if I'd ever been, I think, to Newark. You are a Newark Memorial Cougar. So you're in high school. That's awesome. Might want to be an announcer like you. Hey, get on. You're already on here on YouTube. Practice and hone your skills right here on YouTube. Do what I do. And you don't have to have all these lights and stuff. And watch. Do you guys like what do you guys like better? The traditional, straightforward look, or do you, watch, it's going to get really bright here for a second. There you go. Or that. Or I could also change them, by the way. Okay, you know what? I'm not going to do this now. This is going to get way too distracting if I start messing with these lights. So what I'm saying is we could see some teal flow. Sharks make the playoffs. Well, I can't guarantee that. Just because, like, what would work say? What if I'm doing A's games in between? I'll do something special. I promise. Was I the one that started calling Donskoy the Don Father? I don't think so. I don't know who did that. I thought Honor did that. He said last night that Hetty did. Some people thought that Jamie Baker came up with that, which also might have been true. I'm pretty sure I didn't. I think Randy Hahn did. I don't know how that worked. Let's see here. EK65 doesn't get criticized at all in the TV and radio broadcasts. Is there some sort of rule in place in the Sharks organization? Let me say this. We talk a lot about a player who had only had like 4 points, before he got injured in 14 or 15 games, was a -7 or 8 or 9. What you're wanting some people to do is take it to the next level and criticize and make it personal and bash the player. Sometimes you just let the situation speak for itself, and the player knows that too. It's not. I have the golden rule where I won't say anything on TV or social that I wouldn't also say to the person or their family's face. Just, I'm not going to make it personal. So my way of going about it is, if somebody's struggling, I'll just paint that picture, let you think about it, let you see it, let you understand it, try and figure it out. Like, are there some reasons behind it? What could be going on here? And his injury complicates the matter, no doubt. Makes me wonder, how long had it been going on? He looks better since coming back. I have to definitely say that. Not just scoring a goal the other night, but skating better. I still realize there's a lot more room for improvement, but to the point, stating the obvious and letting you see that is my method. You guys aren't dummies, so that's kind of how I do it. I know there are some people in my business who like to see the opportunity of somebody struggling, so they can jump on it, they can rip people. That's just not me, and that's not a lot of my teammates either that don't do that. Yeah, a couple years ago, I went to the Vlasic house, and they had the 3 dogs there. Obviously, 2 of them have since passed, and I think they've gotten some new dogs since then. But Nikki and Macy both passed, and yeah, it hit me too. I sent Mark messages after both because it touched me to know what he was going through. Their dogs are like children to them, and so ours, honestly, our dog in our house is like our first child, to be perfectly honest. All right, let me try and get back. Darius, back on the super chat, buddy. I really appreciate that. Big fan of John Leonard, and big fan of the John Leonard Mario Ferraro tandem, the college connection that has, it's so crazy that those guys, and then Ferraro assisting on Leonard's first NHL goal. I heard him talking on the 31 Thoughts podcast the other day about how poor John Leonard has on the tape of there, who assisted on the goal, and it's not a Burns, it's not a Logan, it's a Mario. He's being self-deprecating, but I'm highly encouraged. Even the breakaway goal he scored the other night, to come with that speed, I think we tracked him at like 20-something miles an hour up the ice, and to finish at the end with the dangles. He's got skills. He's got scoring skills. I think we're just seeing the very tip of the iceberg. So I apologize there's not more specifics on that. I just think, and I don't want to go and compare him to other Sharks players from the past or even on the current team, but I think what I want to tell you is I see a lot already. Pretty sizable upside for his career. Let's see, what else do we have here? Sharks fan since 91, now living in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Used to be an usher at the tank in the early 2000s. Dan, Well, it's good to see you on here. I appreciate that. And we obviously miss you. I guess everybody misses everything about the tank these days. We have not been doing Twitter missions this year. A lot of reasons. One of the main ones being that we're trying to limit how many people are actually at our studios every night for shows. And doing the live stream requires even a couple more people from a technical side. So let me try and get through this here. Oh, as I see my son might be waking up for good this time. Daddy might have to go in and help him out. I'm not ready to break this off yet, but I'll keep an eye on it. What do I like most about San Jose State? I think that school, that campus being downtown has a ton of potential. I don't think when I went there it was realized. I still think that with it being in the heart of Silicon Valley, and I just think I know it's a commuter school still, but I think it could be a destination school. You know, if they built more of a campus community. And I know they've worked on it. The new living facilities are awesome. Nothing like when I was there in the late 90s, early 2000s. It was still very much outdated back then. Not so much anymore. It's definitely gotten up a couple notches. How old am I? I'll be 40 in about a month. Less than a month. Oh, man. What do I think comes first, an A's World Series win or a Sharks Stanley Cup? It's crazy. A couple years ago, I would have said definitely Sharks Stanley Cup. They're more on the cusp. And they were in the final. And the A's haven't been to a World Series in a lot longer. I don't know. Have the tides turned? Are the A's closer to a crack at it than the Sharks? Maybe. I don't know. Dubnyk so far this year. Oh, man, I passed 11 o'clock. All right. I will be signing off here soon. I think Dubnyk has not always been helped. I think it's crazy that some of his wins have come in the lesser games he's played. And I think he's played really well other games and doesn't get the result. So, it's not the full bounce back season that I think Dubnyk was hoping for. Had a rough last year. This one's certainly better than that. In Minnesota, had a lot of family stuff going on, specifically with his wife. And so I guess the best way to state it is this. Important piece for the Sharks to have as a second goalie. I don't even want to say a backup, but one also to challenge and push Jones. Has he been lights out? Has he been like on another level? Has he had the bounce back he wanted? No. But I think he's definitely taken steps toward it. And I love the fact that he didn't let Binnington off the ice easy the other night. Dan, you got it. Appreciate it. Sorry, Lan. Did I say Dan? Yeah, it's getting that late. Lan, I appreciate it. Comes first, the A's new park or jumbo pad? Ooh. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Maybe if it was in the same year, I'd be all about that. I don't know. That's a great question. You know what? It's probably depends. I mean, jumbo patty play a couple more years, maybe. One more year, maybe. And then you don't want to retire their jersey instantly after that, right? You want to wait like 4 years, 5 years, maybe 3 years. So it's close. How long does it take to build a ballpark? I don't know. Jerome, good night. I appreciate that. Have I ever wanted to cover any other team? It's a great question, Dalton. Look, the three that I grew up on, A's, Sharks, and Warriors. And crazy enough, right before the pandemic hit, because here's the story. 49ers were in the Super Bowl. Our whole staff got sent to Miami, right? That's where it was in 2020. And I was the only idiot back at the office who could host a TV show. So they said, you're doing Warriors this week. And it was Warriors, Shark. That week was like Warriors on a Monday, Sharks on a Tuesday, Warriors on a Wednesday, Sharks. And I think I did 1 or 2 more Warriors games. I did like 4 in a row. It was fun. It was different, and it's not the same Warriors of like 2016 or 17 or 18. So it wasn't as fun, or it wasn't the Warriors that I grew up on, right? It wasn't, Tim Hardaway, Mitch Richmond, Chris Mullin, all those guys. So, yeah, it was, I enjoyed it. I would do it again, but I was only a fill-in type thing. But yeah, Warriors would be the only other team that was in my childhood that I don't get to cover. So 2 out of 3, yeah, that ain't bad at all. All right, I'll tell you what, I gotta cut it off right there. I appreciate everybody who was in tonight on the live stream and everybody that stuck around. I don't even know what the view count here looks like. Is this thing even popular? I have no clue. Looks like I look back here. It looks like maybe 40 to 50 to 60 people watching at a time. That's awesome. I really appreciate that. Really appreciate all of you. And thanks for tuning in tonight. Should I play you out with a little something? Oh, no. I'll end it how I started it, with some T-Swizzle. Shake it off, everybody. All right, we'll see you back on TV tomorrow night and Saturday night for the Golden Knights. Good night.